Look, I get it. I'm not stupid. Every 12-year-old, every snot-nosed middle schooler spends half the day watching PewDiePie and Markiplier, like I did. Undoubtedly has at some point tried to emulate their success and create a fucking YouTube channel. You know, that seems like the easy thing to do. You can rise to fame with putting in very little effort just by sitting in front of a camera, a webcam even, and doing pretty much nothing, the way they did. Well, a lot of them find out is it doesn't really work out that way, because of the obvious fact that their production value is not nearly to the extent of all these big YouTube stars. And it fills up YouTube with this god-awful garbage of people, this young people just sitting in front of cameras, rambling meaninglessly, while in this horrible, dark, and just impossible to look at environment. Everything about the video, the cinematography, the subject matter, the simple fact that it exists is wrong. And I know that you have come to this video and you're thinking pretty much the same thing. I'm gonna get back to that in a second. First, I want to tell you a little story, and that is that before I had any interest in YouTube, before I ever wanted to be a filmmaker or anything of that sort, I had read a little factoid on the internet that I had never known before, and that was that if you use like a decent camera in a dark room, it looks fucking awful, you know? Because it gives everything this sort of greenish tint. I don't really know why it works that way. I plan on learning sometime in the near future, but as of right now, that's just a complete fucking mystery to me. But it explains to me why so many terrible videos have this green tint. Because people are so incredibly incompetent that they don't even bother to turn on the lights, right? So when I started making my videos, one of the first things I thought to do was, fuck, I needed lights. I need as much lighting as possible. Alright? Well, let's go turn on the lights. Now, I'm sort of going to disappear here because I look completely like I'm in the black in the dark of this room, but I'm sitting right by the light switch and I'm going to turn on my overhead light. Huh. Look at that. Problem solved. You can see everything. It looks fucking great now. Yeah, there are no glaring problems here. That pun wasn't even intentional when I said it. Yes, obviously there's a giant fucking glare right there, and it is so god-awfully terrible. I hate to even look at it. See, I thought that just the lighting problem was solved by just having lights, like having a bunch of light as much as possible. That's not the case. That's not even remotely true. You solve the lighting problem by having the exact specific kind of light necessary so that the subject is visible, but also not like glowing, and there's no goddamn glare, boring shit anywhere else in the frame. And the thing is that my overhead light, like the main light that I always use, looks like that. So that's not a thing that I'm okay with. So what am I gonna do to solve this light problem? Well, I have a number of other lights around my room. So the first thing that I can do is I can go ahead and turn on these lights that are right above where I stand, and I'm going to turn off the overhead light that I normally use. So this is like a legitimate overhead light. It's right above me, and holy shit, I am glowing. Like, I am absolutely astonishingly bright. This is hard to look at. I want to cover myself up. I am so awful right now. So, this becomes an even bigger problem when you consider this. Yeah, like, you can kind of make out the emblem, but it is bright white. Like, that is terrible. That's not something you want to see. So, that's not something that I'm going to show anyone. I'm going to put that away for now, come back to it later. Basically, the overhead lights don't work, Sure, it doesn't provide that harsh glare that we just saw, but it also, it does show that there's this bright whiteness on me, even if I'm not wearing white. I kind of need to be wearing my hat. It's like my identity. It's necessary facet of my channel. So that's not an option using these overhead lights. I do also have this other light here that you can't see because it's behind the camera, which seems optimal at first. So we're just going to try that real fast. I'm going to turn it on, and then I'm going to turn off those overhead lights. And wow, okay, yes, it's like a desk lamp, and I don't even need to explain the problem here. This isn't something I really tried at first, because I kind of assumed something like this would happen, and this just confirms it. Like, I went from glowing white to literally being a singular mass of white. And look at that shadow right there. That is terrible. If I were watching this, I would just be like, oh shit, you're gonna get killed by the shadow people. Yeah, this is not an optimal option either. So, what does that exactly leave me with? Well, I can't turn on the lights above me. I can't turn them on behind me or in front of me. I can turn them on to either side of me. And that's actually the option that ended up working. I'm going to show you in 1 second. There's one light right here. That's a light to my right, obviously, to your left. And this light is obviously not enough to sustain itself on its own. You can see me, but it's still really dark. I also have a lamp over on my left side, and when I turn it on, there. My room looks naturally lit. In fact, to me, it looks basically the same as it does when I have that light over there turned on. However, the difference is that none of that light is shining directly on me. And, yes, the hat actually looks gray in this manner. So, that's the biggest obstacle. It wasn't hard to figure out, just because there were only so many options, and trial and error eventually caused me to choose this one. But it was the thing that I had always been told was the most important. It was the thing that I was under the impression really mattered. So it felt like I was overcoming some big hurdle, like I was really solving the problem here. I didn't do anything. Alright. So from here, what can I do to make this look good? Well, first, I should probably put on my costume, because I have, obviously, a very distinct appearance, which you'll see if you watch anything else that I've produced. I'm going to go find it right now. So what you'll notice is that you're really only ever going to see me from the shoulders down or so. That's not actually true. At some point, you're going to see me full body like you just did. There are going to be times when it's appropriate for me to wear the full suit, but as it is, all I really need to like dress up as is everything that you see from the shoulders up. So part of that is, first I need like an undershirt, which is why I was doing this in my pajamas at first, because my pajamas naturally have an undershirt in them. And then I just take a nice button-up shirt. It doesn't matter what it is, preferably if it's blue, which is a topic I'll get into in another video. It's not really relevant to this one. Then I get my jacket. Go ahead and put that on. Looks about pretty good. For some reason, this jacket has a tendency for the colors to flip up, but that's not difficult to fix. All I have to do is take care of that, and of course, the hat, which is the fun part, and the cipher toy, which I'll get to right in a second here. Now, something that might seem like a massive obstacle to pretty much anyone is how I get the cipher toy to stay here, because it just falls down, like, immediately. And the answer is, it's the stupidest fucking thing. Are you ready? I mean, you've probably already figured it out. Like, it's so fucking simple. I lean back. It just lies down. Like, I can move my shoulders around. It still works. So all that's fine. That's all fine and dandy. There's one thing, though, that's still wrong with this. Well, there are two things that are wrong with this picture, but the one that's most striking that I can fix right now is something that's probably been bothering you the whole video. I don't know if it would be if I hadn't started out with this whole in the dark introduction, but undoubtedly, at least at that point, it was glaring to you the fact that there were two white boxes in my lenses this entire time. That's gotta be so fucking distracting. For me, because I'm sort of accustomed to looking for that, since that's what I do when I make these sorts of videos, that's really, really distracting, because I just zoom in on that. I know that's not the case for everyone, at least because I never noticed it when other people did it at first. Now I do, because obviously it's so important to me. But especially since I started out where it was so strikingly bright in such a dark area, obviously you've noticed, because there is obviously the light emanating from me. I'm recording from my computer, which produces light, and there's a very easy way to fix this, which is honestly kind of silly. I felt really stupid that it took me so long to figure out. You just tilt them down, right? Boom. See, it doesn't feel natural to me to have my glasses all the way up here. It does sort of look weird if you look at it really closely, but to the majority of people, this still looks like I'm just wearing glasses, like they're just flat on my face. And, I mean, normally if you're gonna do a scene where someone wearing glasses is talking directly to the camera, you're not really gonna have them, like, you're just gonna butch down their hair and that sort of thing, but I've got the hat, so that's not really a factor for me. Alright, so I've got my setup. There's just one thing that's still bothering me, and that is all of this, and all of that, and all of this. It's this fucking digital noise. It's this image noise. It is so horrendous, and it is really difficult to fix. At least, it's difficult to fix if you don't know how, and I don't know how. There's a certain, like, algorithm that finds pixels that are similar in color to other pixels, and you put them all together. I suck at programming. I have no idea how to do any programming at all, but I know that that at least makes sense to me, and I don't know how to instigate that. There are plugins, really, is what you're supposed to use. Plugins to video editing software. I don't have any. I don't know how to use any. You think I'm pretty much screwed. That's another thing that I'll get to in a second. So, I'm about to start recording. Costume looks good. I've ultimately decided, you know what, this noise is something that I can deal with. It doesn't really distract from my image, it doesn't distract from the message of the content. I don't know if that's true or if I'm just telling myself that to convince myself that it's not a big deal, but it doesn't seem to me like if you're not specifically like noticing the noise, that is really going to get in your way. So the first thing I've got to do is I've just got to start recording. Naturally, that means that I've got to put myself in a position where my talking looks natural. And last video, first one that I made, didn't quite accomplish that very well. This one might seem a little more natural because it's not scripted at all. It also means that I'm tripping over my words a lot, which I don't really have a problem with that. I just think it's normal. But the last one, it does not sound like I'm just talking. It is information that I wrote down so I'd have it all memorized. It isn't good. That's something that I'm gonna work on in the future. I'm not gonna like try to alter the last one, try to change it or take it down or anything. Obviously, I think that like it's would be a testament to progress if I keep it as it is. But this current one now, I'm gonna work on trying to sound more natural, trying to sound more like I'm just talking to you. That's the first step I got to do. The other thing is my hand gestures. This is something that just comes naturally to me. Like, that's how I normally speak. I don't know if that's actually true. Years and years of drama and acting sort of stuff has made me really inclined to talk with my hands a lot so I can really express things powerfully with my body movements. It's sort of something that just seeped into my personality rather creepily, now that I think about it. But I need to find a way to make it look natural. And the first couple of ways I tried doing this, it did not look natural. Because at first, the way that I would normally do it is down here, right? Because like that's right in front of my hips. And my hands are always moving in front of my hips, and you would see this movement at the bottom of the camera, but you wouldn't really see it up here. It wouldn't look like much of anything. It would just look like me jittering my hands around like a madman. So I sort of accustomed myself to rest my elbows on my armrests so that I can have my hands constantly up in frame where you can see them, and I will move this around all the time. And this is actually really helpful for me. I think that since I can watch myself talking, I can tell if my movements look weird or not. Sometimes they do. I typically just do whatever feels natural to me, so I don't really ever feel weird about it myself, but obviously that's insanely subjective. Obviously, a lot of people who probably think that what I'm doing right now looks weird. I don't really know. Regardless, from here on out, I just need to keep talking about the subject because at this point, I'm not really using any really advanced maneuvers. At this point, it's literally just like a blog. I'm just describing things that are relevant to me, whether it be a movie review or this clusterfuck of information that's all gonna make sense in the end, trust me. I'm not good at making things make sense. Or whatever other things that I might want to post, I need to make it just me talking. There's nothing special about it. There's no other things going on secretly in the background. There's not like Slenderman hiding out in that fucking mirror kind of shit. Like, it's not an ARG. This isn't some sort of big action movie. This isn't like me doing anything radical. It's literally just me talking to a camera, and that's relatively easy. Like, I've been going this whole time, really. But sometimes, like, you'll see something like this, and the reason that I do that sort of thing is because of the fact that I've slipped up, like, trying to talk, and then I try my best to emulate where I was beforehand, but it's really difficult to do. And so that sort of thing is just like me putting myself in such a position where I know it doesn't look normal. I know it looks weird. It's bad, but it does have the most natural solution that I can come up with right now. I can't mimic exactly how it was, and I don't want to do the whole thing over again. I don't want to do it every time until, like, I get it right the entire way through. That's not really a solution for me. What's better, really, is just to keep going. So if I can finally get my way through a whole subject, if I can keep talking through the entire video, then I should be fine. Then it's time just to publish it. Now, when my first video came around, this was upsetting to me because it looked like shit, yeah? Well, in 1 second, you're gonna see just this one little transformation. And oh my god, my magical powers made everything look better. Yeah, okay. Obviously, I just edited it. Except I didn't do any of the editing myself. I didn't use any like video programs. I literally just clicked a box on YouTube's editing program that says automatically correct this. Something along those lines. Basically, it says, you see all this trash, you see all this ugly, ugly garbage, just get rid of it. Because it's so awful to look at, and I know it still doesn't look great. Like, if you look closely in the background, you're still going to see that kind of shit. In reality, you're not supposed to have a busy background like I do, because it confuses the screen in a way, and it has a lot of different colors and images and pixels, and the pixels are more likely to get screwed up when similar colored pixels aren't or pixels that are close in proximity are not the same color. However, I'm kind of unwilling to change my location because I think this room has a lot of personality. I think that this room, in a lot of ways, defines me. I think that it's a good thing for people who want to be, who want to know me through my videos, which is a large part of it, obviously. The fact that I'm describing my own experiences to you this entire time proves that that's part of the appeal. And I mean, I don't know anyone who would own all this shit. Like, I can't think of anyone else specifically who would. This seems like this is a personality sort of thing. And the fact that I can adopt as much personality with you either through the room or through this really weird, unique costume, or just through any other sort of methods that I can devise, it feels to me as though like I'm actually connecting. Huh. So, this video does look better. It doesn't look fantastic. The sound quality is not great. It's not terrible. Like, the words that I'm saying are coming through correctly. It is a little messy. It's not, like, very clean, but it gets the idea across, so I don't really feel any need to, like, try to fine-tune that at the moment. And I know I'm kind of blurry-ish. That's a side effect of this correction feature that makes all this crap go away. But in general, I should have a video that at this point looks semi-competent, certainly not professional, not good by any definition of the word, but I mean, I've got the lighting well enough that it looks correct and you can see me without there being any like glare or any problematic issues. Sometimes I'll turn on the light in that corner over there. Well, see, that's the kind of shit that happens when I don't lean back properly. Normally I'd just cut this out, but I'm fine enough as it is. I'm just gonna keep it in because like this is all about all the various mistakes I've made. Sometimes I'll turn on the light in that corner over there. That one. Because I think it looks kind of dark. Right now, I don't see it as a big problem. Like, the camera is picking up on it fine. So I don't really have a big issue with that. Otherwise, the image obviously is a lot better with this auto-corrected thing. I've already gone over the flaws there. I've got the costume looking correct. I've gotten my information out. It's not a good video, but it's a competently produced one. It's one that performs the function a video is supposed to perform. So, at the very beginning of this video, I went into this whole tirade about why I've got this YouTube channel and why I think it's a necessary thing for me to do, and why I'm even making this video in the first place. And I think that that's something that would be best for me to explain right now. And the thing is, this is my starting point. These are my baby steps. This is where I learned to develop something that doesn't look like shit. It currently looks pretty bad. I mean, you could argue that it doesn't look terrible for what it is, but when you account for the fact that I'm not doing anything special with the video, it's really pretty bare bones, pretty minimal. It doesn't look very appealing to the eye. I personally do not feel that this is a good video, even after I went through everything to make it all better. But see, that's the point. That's all the development, right? That's all of the steps I took to get here. And I know this is a messier video because I've been improvising. That's also part of the point, right? The way that I'm talking is kind of not very well structured, not grammatically 100% correct all the time, generally not the correct way to speak. It doesn't sound very good, and everything's messy. This whole video is largely messy, from the dialogue I present, the image I present, the YouTube channel that I uploaded on. Like, I don't even need to tell you, that's a mess. The life of the person running that channel, that's a real fucking mess. But it's where I'm going to start from, right? It sucks. I've been repetitive. I've been difficult to listen to. At the start of the video, it was hard to watch. It's still not very good on the eyes. But I can get better. The reason that I feel this is something I need to make, that's something that needs to exist, is simply because I want to have that reference point in the future. I want future me to see this and say, oh yeah, I fucking sucked back then. And I want viewers to see this and say, oh wow, he sucked back then. Because then that allows for this progress. That allows for me to get better. I'm not purposefully doing bad. This is legitimately the best I can do. Part of it's the equipment. Part of it's just my complete lack of understanding with cinematography. That's the majority of it. Part of it's my complete lack of experience with filmmaking. And altogether, I think that if I keep working, if I keep going, then I will eventually get better than those 12-year-olds, which might not be a lofty goal, but it's a good one to set for now. Maybe something great will happen. Who knows? My name is Denny Rothwell. I am extremely interested in, at some point, becoming a filmmaker. And to me, that first step is making a bunch of really, really shitty films. Thank you for your patience.